I created a math assessment that was going to help individuals reach their personal and professional goals. Before that, I was living in Calgary. I lived there for 22 years, and I became a teacher. When my kids were grown, I was a stay-at-home mom. And I became a teacher, and I taught grades 1, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And I still keep in touch with many of those now adult students who are doctors, engineers, lawyers, marketers, and so on. I'm very proud of their accomplishment, and that I played a small role in that. Before being a mom, I worked in the oil and gas sector, and back in the 80s, yes, I'm that old, big oil companies were actually working on green initiatives. I literally worked on making fuel burn more efficiently by testing a number of additives and making catalyst research for refining of crude oil. So back in the 80s, big oil companies, Imperial Oil and Shell specifically, were already doing green things and creating new technologies, which is what the conservative idea is, right? Reduce greenhouse gases and other emissions by getting better technologies. And wherever I've lived, I've always first grounded myself in volunteering. So that's my entree into the community. So I've been a scout leader, junior forest wardens instructor, basketball coach, I'm tall. And currently I sit on the board of the Canadian Wildlife Federation, which really speaks to my concern for the ecosystems and those creatures that live amongst us. And I also volunteer with a number of sporting organizations, cultural and arts organizations, and so on. That's my place in the community, is volunteering. When I first moved to Burlington, over 10 years ago, as I say, I reached out to the Burlington Conservative Association, and I volunteered with Mike Wallace. I'm on his record, so there's proof of that. And I attended events, Christmas parties, and other things with the Riding Association, until one day I went to the Christmas party, and everyone was kind of sitting around in their little pockets like tonight, and I went around table to table introducing myself and shaking hands. People who were there will attest to that. They're looking at me like, who is this? Not so long after that, I was asked if I'd ever considered running for politics. And my first reaction was, well, no, of course not. I'm a teacher, right? Like, teachers aren't politicians. But then I thought about my concerns with Canada. My issues are very, very federal issues: affordability, public safety, and our international reputation and relationships. And so when I was asked by someone who was on the nominating committee back in 2021 if I'd ever considered it, I was absolutely honored and privileged to say yes, and what do I have to do? My next call was to Mike Wallace to say, tell me the good, the bad, and the ugly, please. Like, what am I doing? And I made subsequent calls to people who said, yeah, you know what, you're absolutely the right person for that role. I even spoke with a friend in Alberta who's a solid NDPer, another teacher, and she said, I'm an NDP person and I would vote for you. Because I know that wherever the good ideas come from, you will not be partisan in those decisions. You will look and you will see that it's the best for people, and you will make sure that you champion them, no matter. And I think we've really gotten to a very partisan government, right? So let's talk about the Conservative platform. Hopefully you've all heard it, and the most recent things: axe the tax, fix the budget, build the homes, stop the crime. Those are the 4 things. And while they may be short, snappy, bumper sticker kind of sayings, they actually have some meat on the back. So with respect to axe the tax, Dan alluded to the fact that with the carbon tax and other taxes, everything becomes more expensive, despite what the Liberals will tell you. If you're gonna tax the farmer, tax the trucker, they're not gonna absorb those additional expenses. They're gonna pass them on to you, and you're gonna see it on your grocery bill. So you would think right now that the Liberal government would see all of us tightening our belts and being concerned about what we pay every day. I'm an average person, make my salary, pay my debts, pay my expenses, and my dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. I know that yours probably doesn't as well. So what the government is doing is raising the carbon tax 23%, and all of you enjoying your spirits tonight, including myself with my cider, April 1st, April Fool's Day, that goes up 4.7%. Right? Nickelbrook's gonna feel it, right, Kelly? And all of us will feel it as well. So while housing taxes and energy costs may be non-negotiable, because, well, if you don't pay them, you don't get them. You get kicked out of your home, or your electricity and energy is turned off. One thing that we can go to the community for is food. At Karina Gould's New Year's levy in early January, she had a guest speaker, the CEO of the Burlington Food Bank, Robin Bailey, which was kind of ballsy, I have to say. Robin Bailey said that in December, use at the Burlington Food Bank, and we have others, was up 46%. 46%. Today, as Frank and I were getting ready to come out on the news, food banks across Canada have predicted that they will have 1 million more new users. Not a million more users. So people can afford to eat because people can't afford housing, and people are now energy poor as well, and it's going to get worse, as I say, April 1st. So housing costs, whether you rent or own a house, have gone skyrocketing. Many simply can't afford the homes they're in when their mortgages come up for renewal. We have a series of 1.3% mortgages, 2% mortgages, and so on, which are due to renew shortly in the next year or two. And many of those will renew at almost double-digit percent. And people simply can't afford that. So we're going to see a lot of crisis in the next couple of years, perhaps people losing their homes and who knows what else. Our near adults and adult children who we've raised in Burlington can't afford to live in their community anymore, right? They're going to be taking jobs further away in affordable communities, or as many of my students and my neighbors' kids have said, we're out of here. Plan B, we're moving to the US. We can earn more, we can pay less for our expenses. So they're out of here, and that's going to impact everything that we do here. So increasing supply and density is the common thing. People say, well, if we just build more and we have a better supply, then it'll become more affordable. But homes such as are being built just up the road at Upper Middle and Brant Street are over $1 million starting. Those aren't the homes that our adult kids can afford. Those aren't the homes that, a woman recently divorced can go and find, right? Over $1 million as a starting price. So more often than ever now, we are seeing people in Burlington experiencing homelessness. I'm hearing stories of them occupying grocery store washrooms, and we've seen them in the transit stations, and we're also seeing them, looking for housing at shelters, and we simply can't allow that to happen in our good city. With respect to housing, again, Conservatives will build the houses through support of sensible growth and reward municipalities who move affordable and well-placed housing and those who are going to build near services and transit. A young man came here earlier and didn't stay, he had to leave, and he said to me, I'm a builder here in the city. He said, I bought property in Aldershot. And he said, I can either put another floor on this building and the city will charge me $300,000 and make me wait 16 months, or I can pay $200,000, tear the place down, rebuild, and still wait 16 to 18 months for approval. So we have to move this thing forward, and municipalities won't be punished, but they will be rewarded for, as Pierre would say, getting rid of the gatekeepers. Yeah? So the second thing I want to speak about is public safety and stop the crime as one of our sort of mandates here. So car thefts are on the rise. Has anyone had their car stolen in the room yet? Oh, there's the one. Okay, so if your car hasn't been stolen, you probably know someone who has had one stolen. They're on the rise everywhere. Folks wake up in the middle of the night hearing some noise outside and see thieves taking their cars, or they wake up in the morning to go to work and their car is missing. Burlington City Council heard in November that car theft claims and insurance have gone up 83% from 2021 to 2022. So when you call the police, they simply make a report and they go, okay, thanks, go to your insurance company, Okay, you all know what happens when you phone your insurance company, your rates go up. So if you haven't personally had a vehicle stolen, it's likely you know somebody who has, and that ripple effect means higher prices for insurance, higher prices for policing, and of course the added consequence that car thefts are becoming a more violent crime. We saw in Dundas, Ontario, like just down the road, a family's home was broken into, someone held a gun to their head, tell me the code to your car, and so on and so forth. This is not far from us. And car thieves, if caught, are charged and then put out on their own recognizance in order to return to some future date, and then the next night or that same night they're stealing another car, and then the next night another car, and so on. Because they're not afraid of our laws and they're not afraid of our justice system. We're left to pay the high costs and the criminals get away, and it's like actually the highest grossing business in Canada, car theft. So just the other day, the deputy chiefs of police in Toronto and Peel Region Police said we need stricter, more rigorous sentencing, and we need it now. And so the Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, has said that he's going to increase mandatory minimum sentences. So the Liberals play around with this mandatory maximum sentence, which nobody ever gets, so you can raise it to the roof and it doesn't matter. But Pierre Poilievre has said a Conservative government will raise a minimum sentence so that if you're caught stealing a car 3 times, which is kind of common now, you will actually get a 3-year sentence in prison. Non-negotiable. So I think that's a really positive move. Yeah. So violent crime often comes with car thefts, drugs, gun smuggling, and so on, and it's an all-time high, and Burlington, of course, isn't immune. In fact, on February 14th, police officers executed warrants here in Burlington in a home right under our noses and arrested 3 people. They were against probation orders, but they had $30,000 in cash, a swag of firearms with the registration numbers scrapped off, and a lot of street drugs worth about $550,000 right here in our neighborhood, and this is not an isolated incident. So what's going to happen? Charges were laid, including this contrary to probation order, and this is just one example. So how will Conservatives address this? Well, you may know that after 8 years of Pierre Trudeau, of Justin Trudeau, he's just finishing the work of his dad, we all know that. Good Lord. And so after 8 years, we now have a revolving door justice system. We have heinous crimes that were removed from indictable offenses to minor offenses. We have people bowing off of real sentences to home service. So they literally just put an ankle bracelet on and here's your Netflix and your chips and away you go. And recently someone cut off their ankle monitor and they're out committing a crime again. So the first thing you may have heard Pierre talking about is jail, not bail, and he's serious about that. And he quotes 40 criminals in Vancouver are charged 6,000 times in a year. So we have these repeat offenders. Why the heck are they out? And just today on Twitter, I see 2 people who were released with a warning saying these people are a danger to women, and this is where they're going to be living. And I understand that if they've served their time, you can't keep them longer, but we need to have them serve longer terms through the justice system. So what we've done is we've created a community of criminals who don't fear our law enforcement, they don't fear our laws, and they don't fear our justice system. So we have to stop that. So that's a bit about how the Conservative plan is going to impact us and the way that Burlington is having issues that are happening across the country. We are not this small, sleepy town anymore. We need to get real, and we need to vote this Liberal government out. So I'm going to wrap up about the nomination. So one of the things I want to say is you will not see me vying for a provincial, municipal, or regional political position. I'm not interested. I'm not a political pawn jumper. I am literally your federal Conservative candidate, and that's where my interests, my passions lie, and that's where I will represent you best. told by a few people I'm too nice to be in politics. Don't mistake nice for weak, because I'm not. So I fully commit to representing you and serving you, and I want to make you proud, first and foremost. I will speak to you as my constituents. So how do I get there? How do I get my name on the ballot again? So according to the polling agencies, support for the Conservative Party of Canada with Pierre Poilievre is at record highs across all demographics. In fact, I was interviewed by Mark Petrone on 690 Radio. It's going to be played later this week, where I talk about young people, 18 to 29, who are in droves heading to the Conservative Party to vote. So that's So here in the Burlington Riding, just 2 days ago, I looked, and there is a 99% chance of a Conservative MP in this riding. We can't be complacent. As Dan said, volunteers are the most precious things. What do we say? Time, talent, and treasure. Yeah, so we need all of those things, so whatever you can contribute as we get there. And the dilemma for me is it's a 99% chance of being a Conservative MP, but they don't even know who the candidate is. But it has to be me. Yes. Okay? It has to be. So the ridings all around us are closing. The nominations are closing. And what's happening is this. The ridings will close via the party headquarters, Conservative Party of Canada. They're giving 1 or 2 days to sign up members. So we've been doing that all along. My volunteers, we've been out, we've been, calling supporters and emails from my prior election, which is really nice to have that. We don't have a full membership list now. Nobody's allowed to have it yet. We've been knocking on doors, signing up members. So if you're a member already, I dearly thank you. If you're not a member yet, please sign up. And either of those cases, please try and sign up 4 or 5 other people. Right, Mark? Right. Because that makes all the difference. If we do have a nomination vote, you need to come to a face-to-face meeting and cast your vote for me. Otherwise, who knows what could happen. So, as you may be aware, though, some of the ridings are redistributing because of growth in population. So Oakville, for example, Milton, where Dan is, will be reconfigured. And we are very thankful that the Burlington Riding stays the same in its boundaries. So if you were in the Burlington Riding before, you will continue to be. And that also means that we keep our wonderful board of directors, and we also keep all the funds that you fundraised for us over the years. So we're very thankful for that. Nothing goes astray. I've had my application into the party since September 24th, and I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting, and it still says pending because they don't approve until the nominations close. Imminently, our riding will close for nominations. So at that time, individuals seeking nomination will be given a very limited time to sign up members, and then a 2-week period to put applications in case there are some late bloomers and they decide, hey, I got an easy win, I'm going to submit. I've been here through the hard times. I'm going to be here to win this for you and represent you. So. Honestly, is the real tough part right now. Only Conservative Party members are eligible to vote. So please make sure you keep that. The yearly membership is only $15, and I know it's a lot, but please, it'll be worth it. And I stand here before you, proud Canadian, proud Burlingtonian, and I thank you for your support. Thank you for being here.